Good afternoon, and welcome back to Let's Talk About It, All the Things podcast with Whitney and Chris. Hi, Whitney.
Hi, Chris.
Whitney ran solo on our last podcast, and I have to give her a humongous thank you. That was amazing.
Yeah, that was interesting because originally I was actually going to have Josh bring a snake in
Ew.
and do a little bit with that. And then we changed it up to what we talked about was anxiety disorders. And I knew that he suffered anxiety, much like I do.
Right.
And I actually learned a lot from him, like from what he was talking about and, things that he would do like in the morning. And I was like, I think I'm going to try it,
Yeah.
So I actually learned a lot about him.
Yeah, it was a great podcast. And anxiety disorder is so
Debilitating.
Yeah, debilitating. And there's so many people who suffer from it. And so
if you tell me that there's one person out there that doesn't suffer any type of anxiety, I will not believe you.
Right?
Everybody, to whatever degree.
Absolutely, for sure. For sure. So it was a great topic, and I'm so glad that you were able to interview Josh on that. So
thank you for trusting me to do that. That was no pressure, no.
You ran it amazing. Yes.
Thank you.
So if you missed it, make sure that you go back and listen to that podcast because it was a good one. And yeah, if you suffer from anxiety at all, even if you think you don't, you should listen to it because Josh really talked about a lot of stuff. So yeah, I had some weird form of laryngitis, so that was really weird. I've never experienced that before, where literally by Wednesday when we were supposed to record that podcast, I was at a squeak level. It would not have been a good time. So thanks for doing that.
You're very welcome.
So today, our guests had to reschedule.
Yeah.
Just for circumstances beyond their control. So we will look forward to having them in August.
Yes.
So we look forward to that conversation. So today you just get Whitney and I.
Just us. Sorry. We're just going to gab now.
Yeah. So we decided to talk about self-care. Why? Well, because May is coming up. May is next week. Can you even believe that right now?
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
It's like next week, Wednesday or Thursday, I think. It's so weird.
Where did April go? That went by so fast.
I know, right? I know. So May is Mental Health Awareness Month.
It is.
So we're going to...
I actually have the definition of all that.
Do tell, please.
Okay, so doing a little searching here on the intronets. And off of the... Oh, please tell me I'm saying this right. NAMI?
Yes,
okay.
The National Alliance for Mental Illness.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So off of their website, which is NAMI.org, it says, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Since the beginning of 1949, Mental Health Awareness Month has been a cornerstone of addressing the challenges faced by millions of Americans living with mental health conditions. Throughout the month, NAMI actively participates in this national movement dedicated to eradicate stigma, extending support, fostering public education, and advocating for policies that prioritize the well-being of individuals and families affected by mental illness.
Yes.
So...
And there's a ribbon for that. What's the ribbon color?
Oh.
Because I know you know.
I got this. So ribbon color is green. Why is it green?
Why is it green, Whitney?
So, to combat bias and discrimination, in the 1800s, the color green was used to brand people who were labeled insane. I'm quoting insane. The children's mental health community decided to continue using the color green, but with a completely different focus. Green signifies.
Thank you.
You're
welcome.
Couldn't get that out. Signifies bear with me. Green signifies new life, new growth, and new beginnings. So green's a new beginning. Kind of like grass, right? It's when you
Yes.
ground yourself, right?
Yeah.
Almost the same.
And spring,
Yeah.
new hope,
New hope. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It kind of all goes together.
It does.
So, yeah, so we thought a big component of mental health is, of course, self care.
Yes.
And we really decided we need to talk about it because for the first 10 minutes before we went live today, Whitney and I both sobbed in a corner together. So,
Yeah, we did.
we need to take care of each other and ourselves. And there's just a lot of really hard going on in the world right now. And obviously, Whitney and I are feeling that to our hearts as well. So self care. I also looked up the definition for self care.
Oh, let's hear it.
Self care is necessary human regulatory function which is under individual control, deliberate, and self initiated. So that's the definition of self care. And I found this quote, and I think it's very interesting. It says, people are feeling lonelier and less able to unwind and slow down, which makes them feel more anxious and overwhelmed by even the simplest tasks. And I feel that.
Yeah,
Don't you?
I do.
Like, there's just so much going on.
There is. And I honestly don't think there's one day that you'll not have something go wrong or completely right or whatever you want to define that as. You'll always have something in your way.
Yeah.
You just gotta. I think I don't want to completely quote Josh, but make it work for your advantage. I believe it's something to that effect of what he said on the last episode. So yeah, you gotta take those circumstances and make it work for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I preach self-care all over my Dragonfly page.
Yeah.
I mean, in my stories, I'm always preaching self-care. But I'm not always that great at following my own advice.
Oh, amen. Oh, yeah.
Which I think a lot of us feel that, right?
Okay.
Like, do as I say, not as I do.
Times I've told people around me, yeah, like for instance, this is gonna sound bad. I found out a friend of mine who suffers from anxiety, depression, and suicide thoughts. I went to his wife's parent, one of her parents passed away. So I went to the funeral and we're standing in the parking lot and I'm talking with him. And he's telling me, oh, yeah, by the way, I should be on a 72-hour hold right now, but I am on watch because he tried or was thinking of doing something. And I stood there in the parking lot at a funeral home and I told him, you're lucky we're staying at a funeral home right now because I would kick your ass for thinking about doing that. And yet, that hypocritical statement, maybe?
I mean,
But,
yeah, that sounds about right for all of us.
Right. So, yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I was telling Whitney before we went live that it just seems like there's a lot of really hard things going on in the world. And not just the world, but just right here, like with my own friends, and like everybody's going through some weird, hard, and it just feels very overwhelming. And I mean, I myself, so I'm trying to help other people, and I'm trying to run a nonprofit, and I'm trying to balance some form of family in there. And I'm not doing a good job at any of it, which is probably why I got sick and lost my voice. It was probably the best thing that happened to me. But
I would like to change that up a little for you. I think you are doing the best you can, and you don't feel like you are. That's, I think, where you're at, is like you feel like you're not doing what you could, even though you probably are. And I guarantee you probably are.
Thanks, Whitney.
So, don't think that you're not.
Yeah. And I guess we probably all think that a little bit to some degree, right? That, we're trying to do the best we can, but
Yeah, I mean, you sit there and second guess yourself about
all the time.
every decision you make about something. Like, should I have said that the right way, or could I have said it differently, or did they get offended by that, or could I have done that action differently? How would I? It's just a down spiral
Yeah.
at that point, and yeah, so you can't go there.
No. Yeah. I feel like my own personal anxiety has been pretty through the roof the past couple weeks. Dragonfly is entering our fundraising season, and it's a lot. It's a lot. For the next really 4 or 5 months, we have almost a fundraiser every month. We always take July off, but May, June, August, September, October, we have a lot going on. And yeah, it's
overwhelming.
it is really overwhelming.
I mean, I have a taste of that with the music festival. Just
Right.
to
Coordinating that.
yeah, like so I get that little bit of a feeling of what you're explaining.
Yeah. It's hard, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot on top of everything else you got.
Oh yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. So I wanted to kind of talk about self-care because we all need it in our lives, and we always prioritize ourselves last. I don't care who you are, you do.
Yeah. Can I preference this with an example? Because
Yeah, you can.
I just ironically, like I said, a lot of things have been going on, and I just talked with Josh yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. About a possible surgery that I'll be having, and it would drastically knock me down from my work for probably at least 3 months. So that means I would have to have somebody pick up my backpack for me, or just simple things that I couldn't bend over to get, because the surgery would be for my neck, so I wouldn't be able to bend or anything for a long time. And the thought of that is very hard to accept. And he's like, because I was like, my job, yeah, they're saying I could probably go back to desk, but everybody knows my job if you've been here. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of lifting, a lot of moving, a lot of everything. And I'm like, yeah, I'm worried about my job because I have so many things already booked, and I don't want to let anybody down and all this. And he's like, you know what? You got to think about you first. And I'm like, I understand that, but my job is a lot to me, and I care about it. And I'm not thinking I'm going to lose my job over it. It's not that problem. It's just, I want to keep my responsibilities and stick to what I have. And that would affect it a lot. He's like, we have it.
Yep.
Don't worry about it. Think about you first.
Yeah.
And that hit a lot.
Yeah. I mean, and that's hard, right? Because, you have to be selfish a little bit here, right? Like, because, I mean, you are a priority.
Mhm.
You are your priority. And everything else will just have to just come behind it, period.
Yeah.
So I mean, and Josh, of all people, of course, totally gets it.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he's going to be 100% supportive of you. And I know that that's not every boss, manager, leader in the world. There's some really crappy ones out there, but he's right. Like he's got it. He's got you.
I know he does.
And it's so hard for us though as humans to ask for help, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so that's going to be your big thing,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, especially when you're really independent and just, kind of, I don't want to say do everything for yourself, but essentially do everything for yourself.
Right.
And then to almost have to give that up for even just a short amount of time, it's hard.
Yeah, relying on other people.
Yeah. But yeah, you do have to ask for it.
Yeah, you do. You do. But we don't.
No. We're so stubborn.
We are so stubborn.
Yeah.
Humans are so stubborn.
Yeah. I don't get it. Why? I mean, is it an ego? Is it, like, do you think it's like your self-respect? Is it, I don't even know what it would fall under.
I mean, I think it's probably different for everybody. For me, I always feel like I'm a burden.
Yeah.
You know, like if I ask somebody for something that, you know, I'm putting something on them when they already have probably a million other things on their plate. And so, like, I feel like I'm just adding to that pile right on their plate, you know?
Yep.
So for me, that's a burden thing. You know, I feel like it's probably a mixture of things, right? Probably ego is in there,
Oh, yeah.
right? Some pride.
Oh, yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't. Or, like you said, when you're used to being so self reliant,
Yeah.
it's really hard to be like, oh, hey, Josh, can you pick up my backpack for
Yeah.
me? I mean, you know, because it's to you, I mean, it's a trivial, like normal, everyday thing, but now all of a sudden you need help with it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. It's such a bizarre feeling, and, you know, I don't know if you've had any major surgeries in your life where you've had to have that.
yeah,
You-
just C-sections for children, you know,
Yeah. So, like, you couldn't pick up your kid for, like,
couldn't
what,
even
a
pick
couple
up a
weeks or
gallon of
something.
milk for crying out loud.
Exactly. And, same, when I had my knee surgery, the same thing. I was in a full leg brace for 4 months, and it was hard to walk, and, I couldn't do things for me. I'm like,
I know.
this stinks.
It does stink.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it really stinks.
But you can't be afraid to ask for the help.
You can't. I always say that asking for help is the brave thing to do.
It is.
'Cause
It
it-
really is brave.
Right? Takes a lot of courage to be like, yo, I need some assistance here.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, I, along with looking up at the definition of self care,
Yeah.
I also looked up types of self care.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
I know,
I'm gonna
right?
love this one.
Yeah. So, I didn't really realize it. I mean, I guess I didn't really think about it, but there's 3 different types of self care. You ready for this?
Yes.
Emotional,
Okay.
physical,
Yep.
and spiritual,
That makes sense. It makes a lot of sense.
right? So, starting at the top, emotional self care can be like this definition says weekly bubble baths. Gross. Don't like baths, but that's just me. Saying no to things that cause you unnecessary stress, right? We talk about like setting personal boundaries and saying no instead of always saying yes to everything.
Just learned that last year.
Just better late than never.
Oh, I'll tell you, once I put those boundaries up, I felt so much better.
Doesn't it make you feel so much better?
It does.
And I always say, like, especially with the saying no, like, if somebody asks you to do something or go someplace or whatever it is, if your initial, like, gut screams no from the inside, then it should be no.
Yeah. I mean, that's like red flags. Just even little scenarios, go into a grocery store. Should I? No, no, no. Okay, no. Simple stuff.
Right? Yeah, your gut will not lead you astray. So, I mean, I guess, sometimes like people ask you, do you want, like, okay, for instance, like if I get asked if I want to participate in an event and inside I'm reeling with the nope, no way, no how, I can't fit this in. I will say, let me talk to my board or let me check my calendar and I will get back to you because at least it gives me a little time to think about how I want to kindly respond.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you got to trust your gut. You got to set some boundaries.
And it's not easy,
It's not easy.
but I
But
promise you, once you do it, you'll feel much better.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And don't just set them and walk away. You got to set them and make sure it stays there.
Yeah. For sure. And then also emotional self-care is giving yourself permission to take a pause. Or setting up a weekly coffee date with a friend. So emotional covers a whole lot of stuff, I felt like. But yeah, like even that permission to give yourself time to pause. So I did this just the other day. Oh, it was Sunday. I had so much stuff. I had to do so much work that I needed to do for Dragonfly. And I worked for like 4 hours straight. And then I was like, and I need a break.
Mm-hmm.
So I grabbed the dog and I took her for a walk for like a half an hour. And then I came back and jumped back into work stuff. But I felt like I recognized that I needed to kind of step away for a little bit and regroup.
Mm.
And it helped immensely
Yeah.
for me to be able to like just kind of breathe some fresh air, not be staring at a computer, and just walk away, just pause for a minute.
Right. Yeah, well, you kind of have to reset your mind a little bit in a way. And that, that's the sense, like, so you're not sitting there staring at the computer, work, 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 work. You have that break of, I'm not even going to think about it. Not one thing of it.
Right.
And, oh, there's a tree. Oh, how pretty is that? Or, oh, look at that bird.
Right.
It's that. You refocus your mind.
Yes. Yeah. So it's like, whatever your pause looks like, everyone needs to be taking a pause every day. Every day.
Yeah.
Take a pause.
Yep.
Okay. So, 2,
Yes.
physical.
Okay. Yes.
So, physical self care, prioritizing sleep,
Oh, God.
adopting an exercise routine you can stick with,
Yeah.
choosing healthy and nourishing foods over highly processed ones. So I feel like there's a lot to unpack here.
Yes. Let's start with 1. Well, all right. What was 1 again?
Sleep.
Sleep. Oh, geez. Preach to the choir. Yeah, what do they say? You should get between 7 and 8 or 7 and 9 hours of sleep.
7 and 9, I think. Yeah.
7 and 9.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you go to bed at 10, right?
And then you lay there.
Yeah. I mean, it could be as simple as, okay, maybe I'm looking at my phone or computer. Maybe I'm not. It doesn't matter if you're on a computer or on a technology or whatever, or watching TV. I mean, your brain's going to shut off and go to sleep when it wants to, in a sense. Now, I know they say there's techniques out there that can put you to sleep and relax you and all that. But your body is going to do it when it wants to do it. So how can you always guarantee that, especially if it's not a complete 7 hours, if you wake up every hour?
I know.
I mean, that's what I do. I always wake up every hour.
I feel like this is like a number 1 for a lot of people is lack of sleep.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like there's all kinds of things out there, they talk about like not being on your phone or watching TV for an hour before bed. They talk about red light.
Oh,
they talk about like
don't
all
eat
these
after
things.
9.
Yes, don't eat after 9. Like there's a million things
Yeah.
out there, okay? But let's be realistic. That doesn't always necessarily work for every single human on the planet. I mean, I don't know.
How many hours of sleep do you normally get?
I mean, I try to go to bed I try to be in bed by 9:30, but I'll lay there till probably at least 10. But here's my thing. I may like sleep, but like the last 3 nights, for example, have been very fitful, like dream filled. Like I don't remember any of the dreams, but like I'm tossing and turning all night and I know that I am. Like I'm sort of like aware of, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then, my alarm goes off at 6. So technically, I've hit that correct amount of sleep, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't feel rested because it was completely fitful sleep, right?
Right. What do they call it? REM sleep?
Yeah.
R-E-M. REM.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I never got into that deep sleep.
Yeah. Because I believe if you're dreaming, you're almost in between being awake and REM sleep. Like you're more almost awake dreaming than you are in a deep REM where you don't dream.
And I've been like that for 3 nights.
Oh, God.
Yeah. It's so weird. And I don't know why. I don't know how to fix it. Like, and I did try to like get off my phone and I did try some things.
Well, like you said, your anxiety is up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's going to cause it.
Right? Your head is spinning. You're thinking about all these things. And yeah, like I just can't shut my brain off.
Yeah.
And I know that that's like a million other people on the planet.
Yes.
Going through the same thing. It's just so hard.
Yep.
So yeah. And then physical activity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, My part-time job's pretty physical, so I feel like I get a lot there, but I know that's not really the same. I mean, for me, and again, physical activity is different for everybody. Like I used to be a huge CrossFit athlete. I did that for like 10 years and I was super, super into all that stuff. And then just one day I was like, you know what? My body doesn't really like this anymore.
Yeah.
So I really just started focusing then on things that I liked.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's the key, right? Like everybody's like, oh, you got to exercise, you got to do this, you got to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so find something that you like to do. So for me, I just like going hiking in the woods with my dog.
Simple hike.
Simple hike. I'm moving my body.
Yep.
And it's something I actually really, really enjoy. And I get a lot from nature. Like I seriously feel like I'm like one with the trees sometimes. And so for me, that is huge.
Yeah.
But maybe hiking isn't your thing. Maybe you like swimming.
Right.
Maybe, you like dancing in your living room every night. Like, I don't know. But like I feel like it's individual, right? You just gotta, and you're not gonna stick to an exercise routine unless it's something you like. Right?
Exactly. I mean, you just gotta, have to do this and that until you go, got it.
Right.
Yeah, I did the same thing. And, I was, I still am in on running. I still like to run. I have some, those home workout apps, those are just my basics, I like just so I can get them in, get my cardio going, right? But, I also learned like, okay, so lifting weights.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like this, whatever, for whatever reason, but this works. So you just gotta, test it out. Test the
You gotta
waters.
try stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think I am not, I don't recall what it was, but it's when you work out, you're releasing, oh, please help me here. You're releasing some like chemical out of your body that actually ends up relaxing you.
Yes. And then you get all those really amazing happy endorphins.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, movement in itself is so good for your mental health.
Yes.
It's so good for your mental health. Any kind of movement. So yeah, like even like I said, like dancing in your living room with your kids or like whatever. Like I just, some kind of movement. So I get that that's a huge self-care piece. I think if you can just kind of jump up and down and move a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just you got to find something that you like, that you actually enjoy.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're never going to do.
Exactly.
And then eating better.
Yeah.
We could all do that.
Oh God. Well, food industry nowadays. I mean, I just saw this morning. There's a lot of states right now, I guess, that they're gonna pull from selling or ban, I guess, in the US. It was a cereal. Lucky Charms and 2 other foods. Oh, the Flaming Hot Cheetos.
Oh.
And I forget what the third one was, but the 3 of them, they're possibly going to ban from selling in the U.S. because of it being supposedly, this is allegedly, connected to cancer. I don't know.
So there's so many things out there that cause cancer and diseases.
Cancer, it could be anything really. I mean, they're saying with the water bottles. Yeah. Okay, well, don't drink your tap water. It's not really filtered, so drink the bottled water. Well, now bottled water contains supposedly,
microorganisms because of the
plastic. Yeah, so now you're ingesting the,
I know.
Plastic.
Can't win for losing.
Yeah,
right?
you can't. You can't. It's just...
So here's my thing with eating better. So I have a lot to say on this actually, but I will try and keep it very minimal. Mm-hmm. I have suffered from body dysmorphia my entire life. And I feel like this whole culture around food just is so, oh my gosh, it just makes people feel like crap all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm not even talking about like what you're eating. Like I just feel like, there's so much like you can't eat this and you can't eat that for this reason or that reason, or you can't eat carbs because it's bad for you. But then you should eat plant. No, but then you should eat animal fat. And then, you can't eat after a certain time at night because then it stores this fat or it does this or does that. There's so much information out there. And honestly, we don't really know. Like
No.
there's so much like misinformation and just stuff that we don't really know. And I just feel like we're just feeding into this whole like culture of I hate my body.
Yeah.
And that sucks. That's a terrible feeling, right? And I have felt that my entire life. And so I guess I'm at that point now where I just eat what makes me feel good.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at.
Yeah. But I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna bring it up. Because you said I eat what makes me feel good, and I'm gonna relate it to the TV show, My 600-Pound Life. What is the one quote they always say? It makes me feel better. The food makes me feel better. So because if you watch almost 98% of every story on there, they have the same problem. There's anxiety, there was some trauma in their past, whatever it may be. There was something that happened in their life that triggered a mental break, and they found comfort in eating food, which in turn, I'm sorry to say this, and please don't get offended by this, anybody listening, it destroyed their life.
Mm-hmm.
And now they have to figure out, do I want to change this around and now work on that?
Yeah. No, I hear you on that. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Just, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Food.
eat whatever you want, it's, whatever works for your body. If you're more on the side of, yeah, I like going to the gym, health kick, whatever you want to call it, then yeah, I can see you're going to be on the more real healthy side,
Right.
But yeah, it's hard to say, well, I want enough protein in me, but what if I don't eat meat?
Right.
What are you going to do? Now you got to try and substitute that. But yeah, just find out what works for your own body. That's all I can say. But try not to overdo it. Don't let that be the comfort to your stressor.
Yes. Thank you, Whitney, for that statement. That's exactly what I was trying to say, but you summed that up very nicely.
Thank you. I don't know how I did it, but I did.
You did. And last one is spiritual self-care, which is not
Yes.
necessarily what you would think, because I think a lot, and it can be, going to church, or it could be religious in nature.
Yeah.
Certainly, that's definitely part of spiritual self-care, but it also includes spending time in nature.
Mm-hmm.
That would be me, 100%.
Yeah. Grounding.
Yep. Meditating.
Yes.
Incorporating regular acts of kindness into your day, and keeping a gratitude journal. So spiritual kind of covers a whole lot of different self-care.
Yeah. I got to say, I think if you really want to sum it up and put it all together, mental, physical is spiritual, because it does cover all of that. If you go out and take a hike, that's a physical calm. That's an emotional calm.
Yep.
So I think honestly, spiritual just covers all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does. Really does. Have you ever done the grateful practice, like where like every day you write down like 3 things you're grateful for?
Never.
So I used to do it all the time. And then I got to a point where I felt like, I don't know, like I really purposely try to choose joy all the time. That's kind of my mantra, is choose joy. But for some reason, the gratitude practice sometimes feels forced.
Mm.
And so I had to stop it for a while. And here's the thing. I feel like I stopped it, but I still recognize all of those things
Sure.
that I'm grateful for, right? Because I did it for so long that now it's kind of just innate. And because I choose joy, or I tend to see those things.
Yeah.
So I would love it if people don't do any kind of gratitude practice, even if you just do like one thing that you're super grateful for today. And it can be the silliest things. Like, honestly, I this morning did not want to get out of bed, and my husband brought up coffee for me just as my alarm was going off. And I was so incredibly grateful for that. I can't even tell you. And it made the start of my day amazing. And so I feel like noticing maybe just like one small thing a day, and you don't have to write it down, but I just feel like maybe just if we can just all acknowledge kind of even in our heads, maybe one small thing.
Yeah, say it in your head, say it just out loud, in a room by yourself or in your car while you're driving.
Right.
Or write it down, yeah. And yeah, I have done that where I'll sit there and be like, yeah, I'm grateful for this job. I'm grateful for the family that I have. I'm grateful for, the place I live, or, yeah, I do that. I've never wrote it down, but I'll occasionally think that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like, that's a big one. And then time in nature and gratitude journals, or just journaling in general. I feel like I know that's not for everybody.
Right.
I love to write, so journaling is just a thing.
Yeah.
But I know that's not for everyone.
Yeah.
But I do feel like, for me at least, like I probably should, but I don't go to a therapist or a counselor or anything. And so honestly, journaling is that for me, right?
Yeah.
Because you can, just dump everything down and nobody's giving you advice back, pretending to listen, blah, blah, blah.
Judging you.
Yeah. Exactly. You're just dumping your feelings out on a piece of paper. And I don't know, there's something about that just makes me.
It's, it's like just if you talk to somebody, it's a weight off your shoulders.
Yeah.
It's the same concept. It really is.
It absolutely is. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I don't want advice, but I just want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I couldn't tell you how many people I've said to, if you want to talk to me about something, whatever it may be, don't care what it is. All you have to do is say, hey, I want to talk to you. Keep your mouth closed. And I'll do that.
Yep. Yeah. I love people that can just be really honest like that, Like, look, don't give me advice. Don't even speak. Just let me just
yeah,
word vomit right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, those are some of the best people. I love that. So there you have it. Yeah. Self-care, folks. It's a thing, and we should all be doing it, and we don't, but we really need to intentionally do this because life is hard. Things are hard, and if we can maybe incorporate here's the other thing. So I'm just going to throw this out there too. Mm-hmm. So I listen to all these podcasts, self-help stuff. I read books. I do all this stuff. Don't try to incorporate a million things at one time.
Oh, no. Bad idea.
So bad. I was just listening to a Mel Robbins podcast the other day, and she was kind of talking about self-care stuff is very similar to New Year's resolutions.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
So or even New Year goals,
mm-hmm.
For your business or personal or whatever. If you make too many, you will make none of them.
Right.
Because you spreading yourself too thin, right?
Right.
You can't focus on anything.
And now you're overwhelmed.
And well, now you need self-care.
Yeah.
Okay. So, one little thing. This is your takeaway. Everybody who's listening, this is your takeaway piece from Whitney and I. Pick one small thing that you can do for self-care for yourself every single day. Build in a half an hour pause. Pick up something physical. Go for a walk with your dog if you have one. Write down one thing you're grateful for.
Go into the garden and plant a couple flowers or pick some fruit or vegetables, whatever you have. You know?
Yes. Yeah. Things like that.
Yeah.
Go smell a flower.
Yeah.
It's spring. There's so many pretty flowers and flowering trees out there.
Yes.
Gosh, it's amazing. So there's your takeaway. One thing, try and incorporate one piece of self-care for yourself every single day. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be a small thing,
Yes.
but one thing.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So anything else you want to say, Whitney?
No. I think that covers a good round of it.
Do you feel better after this podcast conversation? A little bit?
That's kind of a loaded question. I mean, on a basic day, I'd be very jazzed about this. Unfortunately, I had
I know you've had a really rough day.
yeah.
And it's okay. We don't have to.
Yeah, no, it just last night was not good. So ironically, when you said, "Hey, we're gonna do this mental health," because the month is coming up, and then some, what happened last night. I mean, it fits.
Yeah.
For what happened, but so it was hard, but I'm still glad that we're talking about it.
So, yeah. I mean, I am very grateful for you.
I'm grateful for you.
And I'm very grateful that we do this podcast and that I'm hoping that everyone who listens to this maybe feels like you're not alone.
Yeah.
Because you're not.
No.
And things are just hard for everyone right now, and everybody's struggling. And just I want you to know you're doing the best that you can, and try and incorporate some form of self-care to help yourself. As my husband said to me right before I left, remember, you're supposed to put your own oxygen mask on first.
That's pretty good. I like that.
He literally said that to me as I was walking out the door, and I was like, you're right.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
I really do.
So to everyone out there, make sure you're putting your own oxygen mask on before others, because you are a priority and you need to make yourself one.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, we're going to wrap it up a little bit just because it's hard. Life is hard right now. And Whitney and I, might shed some more tears. So, anyways, we're grateful to all of you, and just know that you are enough and we love you.
We do.
Catch you on the flip side. This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. We are just your friends. Whitney and I are not licensed therapists, and this podcast is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professional.